This hard truth makes you irresistible to 95.5% of women. You're about to discover something few men have the guts to hear, a truth that cuts like a knife but completely changes the dating game. It's a truth that, when applied, shifts your presence, your power, and the impact you have on the women around you. And this isn't some fluffy self-help talk. This is the raw, unfiltered reality based on the psychology of attraction, human behavior, and thousands of real-life stories. This hard truth is the key that unlocks the door to being irresistible, not to all women, but to 95.5% of them. Prepare to ditch the old beliefs and concepts that only hold you back. You've tried everything, making small talk, showering her with gifts, changing your look, being the nice guy who never complains, and none of it works. Why? Because attraction isn't about frantic effort or trying to be someone you're not. Attraction is born from a set of behaviors and attitudes that showcase your value authentically. And the hard truth we're about to reveal is the core of that. What is this hard truth? It is simple. Women respect and are irresistibly drawn to men who have complete control over their own lives and emotions. They don't chase, they don't beg for attention, and they don't lose themselves in the pursuit of affection. They live for themselves, have autonomy, purpose, and a presence that no one can ignore. True attraction doesn't come from neediness. It comes from freedom. Why is this truth so hard to accept? Because emotional attachment, the fear of loss, and the need for approval are natural human feelings. And it hurts to admit that to be irresistible, you have to overcome these fears and detach. It hurts your ego, your pride, and your idea of what a relationship should be. But it's only when you embrace this pain that you become strong and truly magnetic. What you will learn in this video: why emotional control is a man's greatest asset, how to detach without losing your passion, the behaviors that push women away and the ones that draw them in, how to be authentic and powerful at the same time, practical tips you can apply today to change your presence. The origin of irresistible power. Have you ever noticed that there are men who aren't the most handsome, the richest, or the funniest ... Yet women can't stop thinking about them? It's almost frustrating to watch, isn't it? You look at them and think, what does that guy have that I don't? The answer, my friend, is simple but powerful. He understands the origin of his power and doesn't give it up to please anyone. The fatal mistake 90% of men make most. Men enter a relationship or a dating scenario with the wrong mindset. They put the woman on a pedestal and automatically place themselves below her. They start orbiting her as if they are satellites of a planet called female attention. The problem? When you orbit someone, you become predictable, and predictability kills attraction. Women don't feel desire for something that is always available. Without challenge, without mystery, without its own energy, you become an accessory. And accessories ... are replaceable. The first mindset shift. If you want to be irresistible to 95.5% of women, the first thing you need to understand is, you don't live to please her. You live to fulfill your purpose. It sounds simple, but most men don't live this way. Most live reacting to her moods, her texts, her desires. When you do this, she senses that your life revolves around her, and subconsciously, she loses respect and interest. Female desire is fueled by respect. And respect is born from the perception that you are your own man. The example of a man on his own axis. Think of a man who is clear about what he wants. He's not available all the time, but when he is present, he's 100% there. He doesn't chase, but he also doesn't shy away from the game. He has an interesting life, his own projects, and an energy that doesn't depend on her validation to exist. This man doesn't need to say, I'm valuable, she feels it. And that's what sparks curiosity, fascination, and attraction. Because she can't control him. And let's be honest, we want what we can't control even more. The root of irresistibility: intelligent emotional detachment. Detachment isn't coldness. It's not ignoring, treating her badly, or playing games. It's understanding that you are with her because you want to be, not because you need to be. When this energy is clear in your posture, your words, and your actions, she realizes you're different from most men. And that's when you enter that select group of men she considers a true emotional challenge. The scientific proof research on attraction shows that perceived value is one of the most important factors for desire. Perceived value isn't just about looks or financial status, it's about how you present yourself, the confidence you project, and the clarity that your life is complete with or without her. In other words, men who project emotional self-sufficiency are seen as more attractive, reliable, and dangerously interesting. The question that changes everything: if she disappeared from your life today, would you still be the same man? Or would everything fall apart? If your answer was, it would fall apart, that's the root of the problem. From today on, your focus needs to shift. Build a life so rich in purpose, values, and experiences that a woman's presence is a compliment, not the reason for your existence. You don't lose women when you detach. You only lose the ones who would never truly respect you anyway. The start of the transformation: installing irresistible mode. Now that you understand the secret isn't in winning a woman, but in not losing yourself in the process, it's time to get to work. Because attraction isn't something you beg for, it's something you radiate. And radiating that magnetism starts from the inside out. Step 1. Strategic silence. Most men give away their hand too quickly. If she takes a while to text back, he sends another message. If she's distant, he doubles down on attention to warm her up. The result? She realizes you don't own your own rhythm. Strategic silence is the first tool to turn this game around. When you stop reacting to her every move, you start creating space. And in that space, curiosity is born. Curiosity is the spark that fuels desire. This isn't about ignoring her. It's about not responding in a hurry, not being constantly available, and letting the mystery work in your favor. Step 2. The protected schedule. Irresistible men don't wait for life to happen. They have a schedule full of things that matter to them: workouts, projects, hobbies, friends, studying, and guess what? When your life is already full, you can't just drop everything to chase attention. This sends a clear message: I am the center of my own life. You're welcome to join, but not to control it. Women notice this in your behavior. When she sees you don't abandon your commitments for any reason, respect grows. And with it, interest. Step 3. The look that communicates power. Have you ever noticed that some men don't need to say much, but when they look at you, it's as if they're saying, I know exactly who I am. This look isn't practiced in a mirror. It's a consequence of real confidence. Real confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself, facing challenges without running away, not constantly seeking approval. When you live this way, your gaze changes. And my friend, that look is a magnet for desire. Step 4. The unshakable masculine energy. Masculine energy is direction plus presence. Direction means knowing where you're going in life. Presence means being 100% in the moment when you're with her. Most men mess up because they are always divided. They're with her, but thinking about their phone. They're at work, but thinking about her. This creates insecurity. A man who stays focused on what he's doing radiates emotional stability. And stability is irresistible to women because it activates a feeling of security in their brains that few can explain, but all of them feel. Step 5. The I can live without you, but I choose to have you rule. The most powerful phrase you can internalize is, I can live without you, but I choose to have you. This applies to any woman, no matter how amazing she is. When she realizes you choose to be with her and don't need to be, the game changes completely. She stops seeing you as just another admirer and starts seeing you as a rare prize. Why this works so well? Because female desire isn't linear. It's fueled by emotion, unpredictability, and the perception of value. When you stay true to yourself, even in the face of a woman who deeply attracts you, she realizes that she can't control you. She needs to work to earn your attention. You have options, and women value what is valuable. The invisible triggers that make her miss you even against her will. Now we get into a deeper part. Because as much as many women deny it, their brains operate on emotional triggers. If you understand and activate these triggers, it doesn't matter if she's distant, cold, or even says she doesn't feel anything anymore. The longing begins to eat away at the silence. And here's the most curious part. Often she can't even explain why she suddenly started thinking about you again. She thinks it was out of nowhere, but in reality, it was a carefully planted psychological process. Trigger 1, perceived value. Women don't just get attached to who a man is, but to what he represents. When you behave like a high-value man without having to say it, she starts to see you differently. High value doesn't mean showing off. It means having emotional control, not reacting with desperation. Having a full life outside the relationship, showing that other people also value you. When your perceived value goes up, her mind starts to think, what if I lose him to someone who knows how to appreciate him? This thought alone is a sweet poison that creates longing. Trigger 2, intentional absence. The average guy thinks disappearing is just not talking to her, but intentional absence is different. It requires you to pull away when you're at a high point. What does this mean? If you had a great conversation, a fun interaction, an intimate moment, that's the peak where you pull back a little. Not abruptly, but by letting her savor the moment in her memory. This creates an emotional vacuum that her brain wants to fill, and guess who she look for to fill it? You. Trigger 3, the life that goes on without her. Here's something few people understand. No woman misses a man who stands still, waiting. She misses the man who, even without her, is living interesting moments. This means posting about your projects and achievements without exaggeration. Showing up with friends, trips, and events. Proving that your world didn't stop. The trick here is not to do it to provoke, but because you are genuinely living. If it's forced, she notice. If it's real, she'll feel the impact. Trigger 4, the emotional touch point. We're not talking about long, dramatic, or needy messages. We're talking about small interactions that spark good memories. Examples. I passed by that coffee shop you loved today. That weird laugh of yours just popped into my head. These are light, casual messages that open the door for her brain to relive emotions associated with you, and emotion is fuel for longing. Trigger 5, the incomplete leaving conversations. Stories or dates intentionally incomplete creates a mental gap. It's like you're saying, there's more, but you'll have to see me to find out. The brain hates unfinished business. And she feel an almost involuntary urge to seek a conclusion, which in this case is with you. When you combine these triggers, it's not just that she starts to miss you. It's that she can't control how much she thinks about you, turning longing into irresistible desire. Longing is just the first stage. Many women miss an ex or someone from the past, but that doesn't mean they'll act to get that man back. What really matters is taking that spark and turning it into a flame. And this is where we enter the territory of desire. Longing is memory, desire is imagination. Longing makes her remember what you shared. Desire makes her imagine what she could be sharing now. When imagination enters the scene, she starts to ask herself, what if I were with him today? What would it be like if he hugged me right now? What would he do if he saw me? These questions plant vivid images in her mind, and the more she visualizes, the more her body responds emotionally. The power of contrast. Desire is born when she realizes you've evolved. It's not about saying you've changed, it's about subtly showing it. Examples. If you were always available before, now you're selective with your time. If you seemed insecure, now you take a firm stance. If you were stuck in a routine, now you're exploring new places, hobbies, and people. This contrast creates curiosity and provokes the feeling that she's missing out. And missing out is one of the things the human brain fears most. The emotional lure. Here's a powerful trick. Provoke small doses of jealousy without overdoing it. It's not about obviously posting photos with someone new, but rather showing that you have a social life. Sharing moments that raise questions. Hinting that you are desired without having to state it. When she sees that other people recognize your value, her desire grows naturally. Selective contact. If you text her every day, you lose impact. But if you pop up in a strategic and engaging way, each interaction becomes an event. Example approaches. I was listening to a song and it reminded me of you. I think you'd get a kick out of this. The secret is that these messages don't ask for anything. They don't demand anything. They just reignite the emotional thread. And every time she feels something for you, even if it's quick, the bond strengthens. The last impression trigger. What does she remember about you when the conversation or date ends? If the last memory is neutral or negative, the desire fades. But if it's light, fun, or mysterious, she thinks about you much more. This is why you should end interactions on a high note. You end a call while she's still laughing. You leave a date when the energy is high. You leave a comment that keeps echoing in her mind. This creates an emotional echo that prolongs desire. With these strategies, longing stops being passive and becomes an active force, pulling her back to you. Getting her to chase without her realizing. If there's one powerful thing in the game of attraction, it's when a woman believes the initiative was hers. When she feels she was the one who decided to reach out to you, the connection becomes more intense because her pride is now invested in the relationship. The principle of inversion: most men try to start conversations, plan dates, and keep the flame alive by force. The problem? This makes you seem more invested than she is, and it unbalances the dynamic. When you invert the game and create spaces of silence, absence, and mystery, something interesting happens. Her brain starts to work on its own to fill the void. She thinks, why did he disappear? Is he with someone else? Did he forget about me? And it's this restlessness that makes her want to get closer again. Indirect stimulation. You don't need to talk to her for her to think about you. Use indirect stimulation. Post a photo in a place she's always wanted to visit. Share something that perfectly matches her taste without tagging her. Hint at a change in your appearance, style, or behavior. This activates triggers of curiosity and competitiveness without you saying a word. The power of scarcity. The rarer something is, the more value it has. When you become scarce, she feels she needs to act fast before she loses the chance. This means responding calmly, not immediately. Not being available for dates every day. Choosing quality interactions over quantity. The key is not to overdo it so you don't seem too disinterested. It has the perfect point between present enough to maintain the connection and absent enough to be valued. Leaving breadcrumbs, think of it like a movie that drops small clues before the big reveal. These clues awaken the need to discover the ending. Example, briefly mention something awesome you're going to do, but don't give details. Say, something funny happened this week, and change the subject. Post an ambiguous image that leaves questions hanging in the air. Curiosity is a powerful force that moves people to act. The right time to reciprocate: when she takes the first step. Don't show all your cards at once. The best way to keep her invested is to return interest in small doses, always leaving room for her to keep getting closer. It's like pulling and releasing a rope. You pull, create curiosity. Release, pull back a little, pull again, show value, and the cycle keeps the interest alive. The impact of mystery on attraction. If there's one thing most men don't understand, it's that mystery is an aphrodisiac. We're not talking about being fake or making up stories, but about never fully exposing yourself all at once. When everything about you is obvious, predictable, and easy to access, there's no reason for her to stay curious. The psychology of not knowing. The human brain hates empty spaces. When she doesn't have all the answers about you, her mind automatically starts filling in the blanks. And most of the time, she fills those gaps with an idealized version of reality. You've probably felt this yourself watching a movie that leaves questions unanswered. When the story isn't 100% explained, you keep thinking about it and even creating different endings in your head. The effect is the same with you. Reveal value in layers instead of telling her everything about yourself in the first conversation. Deliver value in small doses. One day she discovers you used to live in another country. Another time, she hears you have an artistic talent. Later, she notices you're respected in a specific social circle. Each new layer increases her interest because she feels she hasn't seen everything yet. Strategic silence. Many men are afraid of silence in interactions, thinking they need to fill every space with conversation. But silence is a weapon. It creates tension, sparks curiosity, and makes her want to break the silence to reconnect. A look that lasts a little longer, a mysterious smile, a pause before responding. All of this communicates more than words. Control the narrative. Mystery also comes from letting her hear about you from other people. If everything she knows is told directly by you, the narrative can lose impact. But if she hears it from friends, acquaintances, or even through social media without you forcing it, the effect is stronger. This happens because indirectly obtained information seems more truthful and valuable. The false sense of discovery. This is one of the most powerful secrets, making her believe she's discovering you on her own, when in fact you are guiding the process. You drop clues, create opportunities, and leave openings. And she feels like she is winning your interest or unraveling your personality. This sense of accomplishment increases the emotional bond. How to create longing while being present. There's a mistake that quietly destroys attraction: being always available, at any time for anything. When this happens, a woman loses the feeling of missing out when she's not with you, and if she doesn't feel longing ... she also doesn't feel the same intensity of desire. The paradox of presence. The human brain is strange. When we have something all the time, we start to value it less. When we feel we could lose it, we value it more. So the key to creating longing isn't to disappear completely, but to create strategic micro-absences. Micro-absences in practice. These small distances can be applied in several ways. Not responding to texts immediately all the time, not being available for dates every day, even if you want to. Having your own life and activities that don't involve her. This isn't playing games, it's just living in a way that your life has priorities beyond her. High-intensity moments followed by absence. One of the most effective ways to create longing is to offer a moment of very strong connection, and then pull back a little. Example, you have an incredible date full of laughter and chemistry. The next day, you don't disappear, but you also don't maintain the same intensity of messages. This creates a psychological effect called emotional peak followed by deprivation, which increases fixation. The importance of a separate world. When you have active hobbies, goals, and a social circle, you send a clear message. I'm complete without you. This independence generates respect, increases admiration, makes her realize she needs to invest more to keep your attention. Let her feel the void. The goal is to create moments where she realizes, wow, I miss him. And for that to happen, you need to allow space for that feeling to exist. If you're constantly present, there's no void to be felt. The secret: quality presence, strategic absence. It's simple. When you're with her, be 100% present. Eye contact, full attention, positive energy. When you're not, don't rush to fill the space. This alternation keeps the flame alive and creates a healthy dynamic of attraction. The power of quiet confidence is a type of confidence that doesn't need to be loud, use catchphrases, or show off to be noticed. It's in the gestures, the posture, the choices. And this is the kind of energy that attracts women almost magnetically. What is quiet confidence? It's not about walking around saying, I'm amazing, I'm a badass, I'm the man. On the contrary, quiet confidence is not needing to prove anything to anyone because you already know who you are. It manifests in your body language, the way you listen, the way you speak calmly, the calm with which you make decisions. Why is this so attractive? When a man isn't desperate for approval, he sends an unconscious signal. I am enough. If you want to be here, great. If not, my life is still amazing. This triggers a powerful psychological reaction in a woman. She realizes she needs to win your interest, not the other way around. Real-life example. Think of two guys at a party. The first is laughing too loudly, talking about his achievements, trying to impress everyone. The second is relaxed, talking to a few people, but radiating security and calm. Who gets more attention in the long run? Almost always the second guy, because he doesn't seem to be competing for approval. Small signs of quiet confidence: not over-explaining yourself. You don't justify every decision. Holding eye contact without hesitation, not rushing to fill silences. Wearing what represents you, not what's trendy. Being selective with your time and attention. How to develop this posture: work on your personal goals before trying to impress any woman. Be comfortable being alone without feeling empty. Take care of your physical and mental health, not to look good, but to feel good. The inevitable consequence: when a man reaches this maturity, he realizes that he doesn't need to chase, doesn't need to compete, and doesn't need to beg for attention. And the most curious thing? It's at that moment that more women start to chase him. The seductive power of saying no. Few men understand the weight of this word. Most are afraid to use it with women, believing it will push them away. But the truth is, when used with confidence and purpose, it increases your value in her eyes. Why saying no is so attractive in a woman's mind? A man who says no calmly is signaling, my life has standards. I don't just accept anything to please someone. This sparks immediate respect, and you guessed it. Respect is a prerequisite for desire. The mistake most men make: men who are afraid of losing a woman end up saying yes to everything. She asks for an impossible favor? He accepts. She cancels at the last minute? He understands. She imposes unfair conditions? He swallows his pride. The result? She realizes he has no boundaries, and she starts to test them more and more. Practical example: imagine she asks you out on a Saturday, but you already have plans with friends. The insecure man cancels his plans to please her. The confident man responds, I can't tonight. Let's make a plan for another day. This simple stance communicates, you have your own life. She isn't your only priority. Your attention needs to be earned, not bought. The psychology behind it: when you say no, you create scarcity. and everything that's scarce becomes more valuable. Furthermore, no creates a natural barrier that sparks curiosity. If he's not always available, what could he be doing? How to say no without being arrogant. Maintain a calm tone. It's not about aggression, it's about firmness. Offer an alternative, not tonight, but I can tomorrow. Don't over-apologize, just give a quick explanation. Immediate benefits, she will respect you more. Your interactions will have more balance. You will feel in control of your own life. The magnetism of an unpredictable man. If there's one force that can leave a woman intrigued, it's controlled unpredictability. I'm not talking about being unstable or inconsistent that pushes people away. I'm talking about intelligently breaking patterns so she can never fully predict your next move. Why predictability kills attraction when everything is the same every day? The female brain goes into autopilot. She already knows when you'll text, what you'll say, where you'll go, how you'll react to certain situations. And when there's no surprise, interest starts to fade. The human brain is driven by novelty and uncertainty, and this is even more true in the game of seduction. The right balance, the key is to maintain emotional consistency, being stable and reliable, while also varying the experiences you share together. A predictable man is like a book she's already read. An unpredictable man is like a novel she can't put down because she needs to know what happens next. Small changes that create big effects. Change the tone of conversations. If yesterday was light and funny, today can be deep and reflective. Surprise her with different invitations. Instead of a traditional dinner, take her to something unexpected, like an art gallery, a hike, or a new activity. Be unpredictable with pauses. Don't always respond in the same minute. Not as a game, but because your life is genuinely full. The psychological factor, when she doesn't know exactly what to expect from you, her mind stays active, thinking about you. This creates mental fixation, which increases desire. Be careful not to overdo it. Being unpredictable isn't about being incoherent or confusing. The secret is to create novelty within a secure relationship. Practical example. If she thinks you're going to watch a movie at home, surprise her with tickets to a concert. If she expects a regular response, send a provocative and mysterious voice note. The man who combines confidence, firmness, and unpredictability becomes addicted to the female mind. She doesn't want a predictable script. She wants a story that keeps her hooked. Ultimately, this isn't about numbers, percentages, or cold statistics. It's about looking in the mirror and finally recognizing the man who was always there, but who may have been hiding behind insecurities, fear of rejection, or past disappointments. This hard truth, the one so many men avoid hearing, but which 95.5% of women feel instinctively, is simple. Women don't fall for perfect men. They fall for men who have the courage to be themselves, who own their stance, their mission, and their standards. You don't have to please everyone. You don't have to be the most handsome, the richest, or the most popular guy in the room. You do need to be a man with clarity about his value, firmness in his actions, and authenticity in what he believes. When you understand this, you free yourself. You are no longer a hostage to games. You don't get desperate for attention. And you start to naturally attract, almost magnetically, women who respect and desire exactly this kind of masculine energy. And deep down, when a man lives this way, he doesn't just win women, he wins himself. And that's the kind of victory no one can take away. If you want to learn step by step how to develop this mindset, this posture, and this self-confidence, not to act like an irresistible man, but to genuinely become one, then your time has come. Click the link below and discover the method that is transforming average men into leaders of themselves and, consequently, irresistible to high-value women. Remember, the right time doesn't exist. The right decision does. And you only need one step to start becoming the man you were always meant to be.